everyone and welcome! Throughout the many years of releasing reworked and brand new champions, Riot released a lot of art to tease or preview their new models in-game. Usually the splash art of a champion is supposed to give you a good idea of who the champion is. Looking at Gangplank you can tell that he survived hell, and looking at Ivern you can tell how peaceful he truly is. But sometimes there is art that doesn't necessarily reflect what the champion looks like in-game. Ornn looks like a badass blacksmith from the heart of a mountain, while in-game he looks a little bit like a hamster. If we look at Kane's other half Rust, in his login screen he looks like a proper psychotic demon. His head looks like a flaming skull and his chest seems to contain hellfire. In Kane's splash art he looks like a shark, like a merciless predator, while in-game he looks like a fish without a nose. What also happens is that sometimes the concept art turns out far cooler than what the champion ends up looking in the game. This is absolutely subjective, but I really liked what Kane was supposed to look like originally. Another amazing example of this is CZECH. His concept art revealed that he was supposed to have adaptive tattoos. And before that, CZECH was meant to be a native jungle predator. And to me, that concept is incredible compared to his final model. Now, before you become angry at me that I am bashing Riot's work and that the models actually look amazing anyway, I agree, they do. But there is a reason why they don't always match their art. And there is a reason why the art mostly looks better than the models. Very recently, people got confused when Pyke's model was released. And since the focal point of his model is his mask, people immediately noticed how underwhelming it looks. Pyke's teaser showed us a psycho, a ripper, a creepy mad stalker. But in-game we got this guy, who hardly reflects any of that. So why is it? Why does Pyke look so different? Why does Ornn look like a sad lamp? And why are Scar's eye green instead of yellow? Unplayable. It's all because of readability and clarity. You see, our champions models are not supposed to be seen from the front. We always look at them from above and from quite a distance. The issue is that most of the details on a champion won't be visible if you look at them from so far away. Ornn is an excellent example of how this all works. In his art you can see a massive mystical ox beast with a giant belt reaching up to his beard, while on his in-game model, the belt turns out to be a blacksmithing harness, and it has quite a way to go to reach the beard. But if you look at him from the way you're supposed to, you'll see that there is no gap and it looks exactly like it does in the picture. The model was tailored to reflect the splash art when it is viewed from above, the way you would see it normally. It's all about readability. The only reason why Ornn might look a little bit different is because his splash art is all in different tones of red, and it makes his beard look much bigger, and in my opinion better. But in-game his beard is quite tiny. Remember that when you're dealing with art you have a lot more freedom. You can use different settings to adjust lighting and poses, which you can't do in-game. Looking at Rust from the same point of view, while he looks pretty awful from the front and side on that matter, again, in-game it is decently accurate. The reason why the short nose works here is because your attention is immediately drawn to the horns instead of his face. And looking at him from above, you won't notice that his nose is gone because his pointy chin follows the same outline. Yes, he doesn't look like the badass shark I thought he would, but it is decent enough. But still, even if Riot had to deal with different angles and focal points, why does Pyke look so different? Well, couple of problems emerged in the case of Pyke. First of all the people who mentioned Pyke's mask compared his in-game model to the teaser, including me. I did it as well. But what they should have done is that they should have compared his model to the released splash art. Have a look at these two. You might notice that they actually look very similar. You can tell that either the model was based on this art or this art was based on the model. The teaser was created separately. And here's the problem. I believe the majority of people prefer the psychotic look from the teaser, instead of the angry killer we got revealed. Me definitely included. While I love the overall clothing and the theme, I would take this madman over an edgy crazy guy any day. I believe the teaser was so good and so well edited that people now connected Pyke to that version. They see Pyke as this boogeyman who looks like something from a horror movie. And when they see him in game, well, there honestly isn't anything creepy about him. He looks like a bandit or a thief, nothing crazy, creepy or maddening. The good news is that we know that Riot is always listening to feedback. And thankfully all the problems apart from one can be fixed with retexturing, which is arguably the easiest way to deal with inaccurate models. The one problem that cannot be fixed is his standing pose. In the teaser he looks very symmetric. You got the creepy mask in the middle, the shark jaws perfectly on either side, and the open collar that goes high up and casts shadow below his neck. But in game he is standing towards one side, one shoulder is behind the other, and his head is turned. This breaks the perfect line from shoulder to shoulder that was drawn in the teaser. To me, this pose just isn't as creepy as it could have been. That's the only problem that can't be fixed easily. The rest needs a little retexturing. So, what are the other problems? First of all, let's have a look at his skin. In the teaser, Pyke was portrayed as someone with dark skin, supported with light blue highlights to make him look more undead. It almost looks like the light blue color is beneath the skin, and it looks like it is flowing through his veins. Going back to the model, there is nothing like this in game. There we have just a normal black guy with the typical brownish skin tones. I believe it would look better if at least his skin went more towards the charcoal black and grey instead of brown. It would make him look a little bit more inhuman, which I believe is the goal. The second issue are his eyes. In the teaser they are wide open, very bright, with red outline for the eyeballs. I understand that the eyes are something you would hardly notice while looking from a distance, but I don't think you need to make them brighter or blood red around. All you need to do is to make them perfectly circular to give him that creepy stare. Currently his in-game model has normal eye shape, and his splash art reflects that too. Again, this change would be if you want to keep the teaser look that people love so much. Circular wide eyes are the key to creepiness. And lastly, let's talk about the mask. The mask is by far the most noticeable change. Not only were the shark teeth incredibly widened, but his model also has two lines below and above the teeth. The reason why the mask is so different is because you wouldn't be able to tell it's a jaw, at least looking at it from above. The mask he has in-game makes the teeth visible from any distance, but it absolutely gets rid of all the creepiness. The logic behind this decision is really good, but in the end it made him look more goofy than creepy. While this was a decision based on nothing but readability, I realized that maybe the mask shouldn't be the focal point of his model. Since the first thing you notice are the jaws on his shoulders, I don't think we need to be able to tell it's a painted jaw on the mask. If you make the teeth thin so they look more like white stripes from far away, that would make the mask look more crimson red and dirty, which would totally fit in the boogeyman design. Right now I don't think the teeth make the model better. They kind of blend in with the shoulders. Maybe repainting it would separate the head from the shoulder bones and it would look a little bit more dynamic. But all of this would only really make sense if Riot's goal was to turn Pyke into a crazy boogeyman. Maybe that's not the goal, and maybe the real Pyke will have a different character and will be based on the splash art. Maybe the real Pyke is a lot less crazy and more about planned vengeance. We still don't know his story, so this model might fit into exactly what he's supposed to represent. But to be honest, we already have a couple of vengeance stories in League, so there would have to be a really cool twist. Otherwise, I think I would prefer the creepy guy. Another thing is that Riot will most likely release a dev post about Pyke after his release. There they usually go through all the possible designs and they explain why the champion turned out the way they did. And to finish this video off, let's talk about the last important thing, which is champion silhouettes. In case you didn't know, there is a reason why all the champions have very different and sometimes strange poses. It is to make sure that no matter what skin or animation the champion is currently in, you should always be able to tell who it is based on nothing but a quick glance. On this channel we even have 2 different shows where you can test that this is actually true. We have videos called Who's That Champion, where you guess champions based on nothing but their black silhouettes. With that said, I was surprised that Riot gave Pyke the classic side balanced stance, because now he heavily reminds me of Talon, especially during his running animation. But worse than that, to me, color-wise, he looks far too similar to Echo. I am going to play his trailer for you right now, and keep an eye out for the scene where Echo pops in as well. Because both champions are black, they both have the light blue theme, and they both wear red bandana, you can't tell them apart during a battle, and that is a massive problem. I believe Riot would have to swap Pyke's skin color, otherwise you have 2 base champion skins that look exactly the same. And that's everything Riot ever went against. On top of this, it is a bit funny that Echo and Pyke both get a skin themed around Shurima.
Saw me drowning and did nothing. Never turn your back on the sea.
But that's it for this video. I am very curious to hear about your opinions on this. Of course, everything I mentioned today is subjective to my own view. It is a design talk after all. And I am not saying that the design is bad. I am only trying to give Riot constructive feedback because I know they are listening. And I encourage you to do the same. Maybe I am not the only one who sees this current design as a potential problem. Or maybe I am, and then this entire video was pointless. But if you enjoyed this video, feel free to rate it and subscribe for more lore and news. If you'd like to chat, our social media will be in the description, as well as our Twitch and P.O.Box if you'd like to send something in. I would love to open it live. Of course, massive shout out to our patrons for going the extra mile. You guys are priceless. And with that, thank you all so much for being here and for your support, you know I really appreciate it. And as always, thank you come again.